It hasn't. So you see how badly timed, how ill-timed, how unnecessary this public fight has been. And that is the point I'm trying to make. You have to select your battles. You can't fight everybody. There are some people that should be in your corner. Somebody who is doing activism and you're in the same line of work should be in your corner. There should not be rivalry or envy or stuff like that. It shouldn't be. It should be in your corner. And I've seen in recent times where you see people that should be in the same distance. I've seen David Udeyin and Pidom, David Udeyin and Fisayo Soyombo, these ones Fisayo is an investigative journalist. David Udeyin is an investigative journalist. Pidom, Isaac Bristow is an investigative journalist. And so they are supposed to be on the same side, fighting the same cause, doing the same thing. But you will now see there's this what appears to be a rivalry where Fisayo Soyombo was attacking David Udeyin attacking Fisayo. We've seen when Pidom was arrested, David Udeyin said some things. Pidom was released, and there's now this Pidom did an interview attacking David Udeyin, and before then David Udeyin attacking Pidom, saying that he's now an undercover agent or something like that to the government and stuff like that. These are people that should be on the same side, fighting the same cause. But unfortunately, it's been overshadowed by rivalry, which is quite unfortunate. And so in this instance, this issue now, Harrison VDM, is now looking Harrison versus VDM, overshadowing people who are supposed to be on the same side, fighting the same cause, trying to fight for those who are underprivileged, underserved, and those in distress, and all of that. Now it's now a rivalry thing. It's now looking like a rivalry between Harrison and VDM, with the issue of who has a bigger platform, who has more integrity and all that. Whereas, meanwhile, the person, the man in question, the main person, the main focus, is still in the bush, in captivity. So, it's important to select our battles. One other thing I would say is that if you watch the screening of the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, one of the things you get from the comments he made, that defense is expensive. Defense is expensive. Security is not cheap. Security with use of modern technology, tracking and all that is not cheap. And so, for somebody like Harrison, who is in the line of security, trying to provide rescue and all that, it is not cheap. You have to travel, have to use vehicles, the vehicles have to be fueled. You have to go with security personnel. And those security personnel, they're not going to just go empty-handed. You have to provide logistics for those security personnel to go for those missions. Yes, it's rightly been said that for Harrison, should have made it more very obvious if monies are needed for logistics. It should make it very clear, and those monies should be provided different from the ransom and all that. That point has been made, and I'm sure he may have made some mistakes, and I'm sure when he released, he'll talk about it. He will learn from them and improve and make his efforts to be more transparent, and in such a way that it cannot be 100% transparent, because it has to do with security, and security has to do with some level of secrecy and all of that. So everything cannot be 100% transparent, but it should be done in such a way that if funding are needed, the funding, the sourcing of the funding, and the manner in which the funding is dispensed and used, accountability, all those things is important. But the point is that these things are not cheap. Going around, going for rescue missions, and these things are not cheap. These things are expensive. And one thing you will know is that just try go, let's say you have something you want to do, try and get police or security personnel to provide security. It's not going to be free. It's not going to be free. There's nothing that it's the only things that are free are the things that God provided. The air we breathe, oxygen, the rains, the sun, the things that God provide are the only things that are free. But anything that a human will make, any quality material, any quality thing that a man is making, it involves a lot of cost. Any form of anything that involves security, that involves use of technology, that involves use of mobility, vehicles and all that will require those things. They're expensive. So knowing this, it's important to note that you can't be working with security personnel without providing logistics, without providing some form of support for them. It's not possible, because these things are going to be priority. They have other people that need a rescue, So if you now come and you want them to prioritize your case, you want them to follow you and go into the bush to look for a particular victim that is in captivity, it would require some cost. And some of those things I suspect are the things that Harrison doesn't want to talk about. He doesn't want to talk about those intricacies, those things that he does to get the security personnel to follow him. And if you watch his videos, you see him going with several security outfits personnel. All these things require costs. And as such, and some of these things are delicate. There is a fine line. There's a fine line between, you are trying to do something noble, and where you have to sort of make some payments and stuff. You may want to go for a certain operation, and they will tell you that they will need so and so for logistics and stuff like that. At the end of the day, your hands may be tied, to say, okay, you may be stranded, and the thing that is asked for is urgent, and what may just be available may be what was at hand, and all those things, the payments that will be made and things that will be done, those logistics something, are not something that is going to come out publicly and talk about. So we know generally that security is expensive. If you look at these private mercenaries, private security, like in the US they make use, US military, they use private contractors. Like before they left Iraq, Afghanistan, there are a lot of private contractors they use. So some of these private contractors, some of them are like private mercenaries. So some of these countries, they use these mercenaries, they use these private guys to do some of these things. And those private guys, it's costly. They will get the job done. Those mercenaries, they'll get the job done, but you have to pay for it. So like for Harrison, I think the work he's doing should evolve. He should set up like a private security outfit. where there will be terms and conditions, where if you require their services, some payments has to be made and some agreements have to be made, that okay, you make some payment upfront, then if we succeed in rescuing the person, these are the balance that we have to make up. Those things are important because we know these things are expensive, you know because one, the people that are the people that the civilians that are doing it will have to take time off other responsibilities, other duties they have, and now come and do this work. And these things involve a lot of travel, and when you travel you have to stay in hotels, you have to get food, and when you go to you're going to very remote places, you have to carry some things that you eat and stuff like that. So all these things are expensive, and as such, making it like a private security firm, like private mercenaries, then now work hand in hand with established governments and security outfits. So there should be, hopefully when it comes out, it should reorganize the outfit and make it such that you could have a more defined private security setup, and with more clearly outlined terms and conditions, and when people now invite him to be involved in all these things, some of these things should be made quite clear from the outset. There's no point of saying, oh, this voluntary is free. Nothing is that free. If someone is doing something free for you, the person is incurring costs and is paying for it with some other things. If someone is offering some free service, it's taking time off other things that is supposed to do. And if person is providing, let's say, drugs or things that, let's say you are doing an outreach and providing free drugs for people, those drugs did not just fall from heaven. You have to go and get those drugs. So money will be paid to get those drugs, or donations will be sought for from companies and all that. Then that will now be used in purchasing the things that are needed. So nothing is really free. Somebody is paying for it somewhere. Like when you have NGOs that do offer free service, they receive funding from somewhere. It's from those funding now that they now provide free service. So when you say something is free, someone somewhere is paying something for it, is contributing something to it. The money is coming from somewhere. So there's nothing like really that free like that. And so instead of just making it, oh, this thing is free, it's voluntary, I'm doing it for humanitarian, this thing, it should be made more clear that these things involve a lot of costs and overhead, and there should be a way of offsetting the cost of doing that. If it's from voluntary donations, if it's from whatever fundraising efforts, GoFundMe and all of that, all those things should be made clear, and so people know what is going on and how it's funded and stuff like that. So those kind of things will now avoid this appearance of things not going right, where it appears that, oh, somebody is collecting money from ransom. And if the ransom is demanded and you're collecting something from that ransom, it will not appear that you are now benefiting from the ransom payment. Which should not appear as if you're not benefiting from those who are operating in the bush. You understand? That shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't appear that one is, you're doing an NGO, this, and it appears you're benefiting from the illegality that you are trying to fight against and stuff like that. So that shouldn't be the case. So reforms, when he comes out, hopefully Harrison should make reforms in his setup, so that there will be a little bit more clarity on what he does, how things go down, And if funding is needed, how that funding is gotten, and if he needs public crowd sourcing and all that, if he needs it, he should be more clear and upfront about it from the onset, so that people know how to support and people know what is going on. This is quite an unfortunate situation. The person in question is still in the main person is the husband who is still in captivity. I just pray and hope that he's rescued. I just hope and pray that he's released. Let him come out alive and be reunited with the wife and with the family. We hope that the government does more to you know to fight insecurity, so as to prevent these problems from taking place, from happening in the first place.